Hello, my lovelies. Sick and tired here. And today we got something a little different that I hope that you will enjoy. We will be reviewing some Am I the A-Hole posts. However, we are going to be doing it TikTok style. So instead of me reading the posts, we are going to be listening to some Am I the A-Hole posts that have been read out by other creators on TikTok. I will have the links to all these creators in the description down below so that you can go check them out and give them love, because I am kind of just piggybacking off of what they've already done. Go like their stuff, subscribe to them, show them the love.
Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend we should break up after 7 years together over this? Me, 25 female, and my boyfriend, 25 male, have been together for 7 years now, 8 in March 2025. We started dating in high school, and in no time, he moved into my house. We had a lot of issues throughout our relationship, but nothing we couldn't talk through. We got engaged in 2022. We haven't started planning yet, but we're saving for a small wedding in the future. About 2 years ago, he started working in a law firm. Because of his new schedule, we have more time to spend together. Since his last job had a mall schedule from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Everything was going great. But a year ago, management decided to change his boss. Before it was a female, and now it was a male in his 40s. After this, I started noticing some changes in his behavior. He stopped being caring and sweet, and now acted a little more serious and mature, in his own words. I confronted him about this, and he only said it was time he started being more realistic and less optimistic. I told him that if it felt right to him, then okay, but he didn't have to be less loving. A few months ago, he started making some jokes, like when he came home and he said,
"Why is my dinner not ready? It should be done by now." Or, "The dirty clothes basket is full. Your job is to keep my clothes clean. You are the woman. You should be in the kitchen. Get up and make me a sandwich."
You get the picture. Whenever he makes these type of comments, I confronted him and he just said they were just jokes, and I was overreacting. Recently, these jokes escalated and now are more misogynistic.
"You should see how many women in my job like me. If you don't come with me to this, then I should find a replacement.
Go ahead."
"If we ever break up, I know it would be easy for me to find a new girlfriend."
And stuff like that. By now, I just told him to pack his stuff and leave if he felt that way. But again, he said they were just jokes. I work as a dog groomer and cover most of the bills in our house, including our food. He pays for his car, internet, and dog food. Last time he made this kind of joke, I lost it on him and said that in any case, he should be the one in the kitchen since I pretty much covered the provider role, period. Good luck finding someone who pays for everything and does house chores and some mean stuff. He was taken aback and said it was just a joke and I should be a good sport. He wasn't trying to hurt me, but was just teasing. A month ago, I offered to give him a ride when he got off work. Since his car was in the mechanic, he said that his boss was joining us too, and his wife. First, I picked him and his boss up, and on our way to pick up his wife, his boss started making the same kind of jokes, and the two of them were laughing like they were in high school or something. When his boss noticed I was not laughing and asked me about it, I just said that nothing they had just said was funny, but rude. After that, the car ride was pretty quiet. We had a big argument after that, and he apologized for making this inappropriate joke that were funny at work, but not in our house. He understood where I was coming from. After this, the jokes stopped. Good. Last week, it was one of his work colleagues' birthdays, and they all decided to go out and celebrate. Partners are not ever invited to any of these celebrations, which I find weird, and I asked my boyfriend about it. He just said that their colleagues didn't want their wives or husbands there because there were other people involved and their partners would think badly of them, aka cheating. But he assured me that he was different and would never do any of that. Anyways, last week they went out and my boyfriend came the next day at 6 a.m. He didn't answer any of my messages, and whenever I called, he said he was staying a little while longer and then would leave, which he never did. He cheated. Anytime they go out, he arrives home at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. This happens every month or every 2 months. He told me that he sees nothing wrong with it since it's not every week, but I believe he should come home at a reasonable hour. And if he just keeps doing this, then we should break up and he can do whatever he likes without me bothering him. He believes I'm overreacting, but in nights like that, I don't know where he is, what he's doing, and who he's with. And whenever I call to check on him, he just laughs it off. It's hard to believe that everyone cheats except him, even when he started making jokes like the one I said before. I realize his boss and coworkers have a big influence on him and even pick fights with me because he thinks he's 100% right and I'm the one being dramatic. I've seen texts where they tell him some other girl's asking for information about him and that he should give it a go. He laughs it off and never replies, but I believe that with enough influence, he will give in. Again, we talked about this and he just tells me to trust him. I told him if he arrives home late one more time, I'm going to break up with him. He reluctantly agreed but told me I was overreacting.
Of course you're not the a-hole. Oh my gosh. If I kept raising these concerns with my significant other and they were constantly saying,
oh my God, I'm just joking, you're overreacting,
I'd be sitting down to have a talk to them and saying, okay, first of all, stop telling me I'm overreacting. And second of all, okay, if I am overreacting and you see how upset your jokes make me, don't you think you would stop if you really cared about that person? That was so much. It just kept going and going.
Am I the asshole for expecting my daughter to do chores?
I'll go not the asshole here.
I, 50 male, lost my wife 10 years ago. It's just me and my 2 kids, N, 17 male, and E, 15 female. Recently, I caused a big stink with some family that my daughter does chores, but my son does not.
Immediately, I'm wrong.
I explained it's because I have to spend extra on my daughter each month, not only for her extracurriculars, but her monthly supplies.
You bastard.
So it's my way of having her pay me back. She cleans the shared living spaces and bathrooms in our apartment and cooks 4 meals a week. My brother said I spend twice as much on my son's curriculars, and by my logic, he should have to do chores too. I explained he didn't because I feel it could help him get into college, but hers were more just hobbies, in my opinion.
Yo, what kind of dad is this?
E overheard me saying this and was very upset. She started refusing to do chores because it isn't fair. I told her she should still be doing her chores and life isn't fair, so stop being a brat. Or I'd refuse to pay for her extracurricular stuff or pads. So just neglecting to do your duty as a father?
Yes.
I wouldn't actually do that, but I was mad when I said it. She packed a bag and took off.
Hell yeah.
She's been staying with my sister, who called me an abusive asshole when I demanded she send E home. My brother and sister are coddling her, and I'm furious. N said I'm being an asshole to E, and that's why she left. I'm completely fed up with the whole thing, so am I the asshole for expecting her to do chores?
Yeah, what the
There's a little bit of an edit to clarify. My son plays football and baseball, while my daughter is in choir and dance group. So yes, I do think my son has a better chance of getting a scholarship. I'm not sexist, and I don't appreciate being called one. And for those of you messaging me saying you hope someone calls CPS on me, I'm not doing anything wrong, so that's just stupid.
Yeah, you're a piece of shit. What a fucking asshole. To suggest that choir and definitely dance, to suggest that those are just hobbies while football and baseball are, those are real serious. Those are hobbies too. Dancing is a hobby that you can also turn into a profession. And having her do all the chores, why? Why wouldn't you have your son do chores too? Your children should just have chores in general because it's going to teach them. You're going to raise one of those sons that's going to get married to some girl and he's not going to fucking know how to do anything and she's going to have to take care of him. Nobody wants that. No woman wants to have to take care of their significant other like they're a child.
Okay, so I need to know, am I the ass? Am I the problem? So my daughter had her birthday party last weekend. She turned 14 and all she wanted for her birthday was to go to the mall and eat at Cheesecake Factory. So I took her and I took a few of her friends. One set of the people who came were these twins and they appeared to be nice. I'd never met them before. I had never met their parents before. So we get to the mall. The text that went out to these parents was, "Hi, my daughter's turning 14. I'd love to have your daughters join us at the mall. Then we're going to eat at the Cheesecake Factory, come home and watch a movie. They can spend the night if they want to, or you can pick them up after the movie." So everyone's like, yeah, that's great. Let's go. So I pick up the kids. We get to the mall. The first store my daughter wants to go to is a Funko Pop store. So we go into the Funko Pop store and all of a sudden I noticed all the kids are picking up Funko Pops and they're, I think, 3 for $33. They're like handing me these Funko Pops, these twins I'd never met before. And I was like, "Oh, are y'all getting these?" And she's like, "I don't know, are we?" And I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and get them. That can be also like party favor. It's not that expensive. There's only 5 of you. So I get 6 Funko Pop or whatever they're called, but I let them all pick out one. And then I check out. I'm like, "Addison, do you want to go to a clothing store? Where do you want to go?" Whatever. And she sees Q. And so we go into Q and I'm like, "Do you want to pick out a birthday outfit? Because you didn't like anything at TJ Maxx or Ross yesterday." And she's looking around. And then this girl, one of the twins, comes up to me with a sweater. And I was like, "Oh, are you going to get that?" And she's like, "I don't know. Can we?" And I was like, "Do you have money?" She's like, "No." And I was like, "No, I already bought the Funko Pop, and I'm going to buy all of y'all something at Bath & Body Works. So, no, I'm sorry. I'm not buying you a sweater. And she was like, okay. So she puts it up. So then, like, we progress. Like, we go to Cheesecake Factory. We eat. The bill's, like, over $300 because I paid for, like, all the kids' food and stuff. And this is what I was doing instead of throwing a birthday party. So we get back to the house. Mind you, we're moving at the end of the year. So my front room is a disaster. Addison warned her friends, like, hey, the house is going to be downstairs, front room's gonna be kind of a wreck. Her mom is like, hey, I'm gonna pick up the twins at 11:30. I'm like, sounds good. Before mom got there, Addison was giving me a lot of attitude about something that really didn't even need to be talked about. And eventually I looked at her and I said, Addison, you need to stop. Like, this conversation is done. Do not make me embarrass you in front of your friends. You need to stop. And she was like, fine. Mom came in the house. I was like, excuse the mess. We're getting ready to move and do a yard sale or whatever. She's like, oh yeah, no problem. As they're leaving, her daughter looks up at me and goes, your house is really messy. You should clean it before we come over next time. And then laughed. And I don't know if she was joking or not. She was kind of awkward throughout the evening. And so I was like, okay, like, that was weird. Mom laughed, obviously a little bit embarrassed, and they left. But the next day at school, I guess, Addison came home and told me that the other twin came up to her and was like, my mom's nicer than your mom. If I was doing what you were doing on my birthday party in front of my friends, she would not have told me to stop. Okay, well, I'm not that mom. And then she had the audacity to tell my daughter, also, when people take you to the mall, you're expected to be able to shop. So I guess my question is like, was it expected that I was like funding a shopping experience for these 5 girls, or was the invitation pretty clear that they needed to bring their own money if they wanted to do shopping?
Absolutely not. And there's some car running outside. Sorry if there's some background noise right now. There is no way, if my daughter had a birthday party and invited some of her friends, that I would be buying them stuff from like every store in the mall. No way. And for it to be expected, no, I don't think so. But no, it's not your responsibility. If you know that your child's going to a birthday party and there might be some shopping, or they might be going somewhere for dinner or whatever, you don't just assume that that parent is paying for everything. You give your kids some money. That's just what you do. It's just polite. Unless the parent says, no, we'll take care of it. Don't ever assume that they're going to be buying your kids presents and feeding them and all that. Definitely not the asshole.
Am I the asshole for picking up my daughter from her slumber party because the mom kept taking her phone away from her, and that made me very uneasy?
Automatically no. What? That's my daughter's phone. What are you doing? Give it back. The whole reason she has it is so I know where she's at. Okay, well, let's just listen before I already jump in with my anger issues.
The first time she took the phone away was while they were eating, and my husband and I talked, and he was like, it's probably their family rules, it's just eating.
Don't
and
care.
I was like, okay, whatever, I guess. And then around bedtime, the mom came for the phone again. And that's when I was like, absolutely not. We're not doing this. Phones are so much more than just a device these days. They're a lifeline. They're a connection. They're a reach in the dark and someone responds. They're a security blanket. And you're taking my daughter's phone from me in a house where all I did was shake your hand at your front door, and my daughter's just locked behind your house and I can't get a hold. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And so we text the mom that we were coming for her. And then she responded with, oh no, she didn't say anything to me. Is everything okay? So I told her, we're actually uncomfortable that you keep taking the phone from her. And she wanted to go on about how it was a miscommunication and the only charger in the house was in blah, 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 whatever. I don't care. This is not your device.
Yeah, I'm going to say not the asshole in this one either. If that is a rule in their house that there's no phones at the table, then just ask the child to put it in their pocket, or, sit it down next to them at the table. To actually take their phone, no, I don't think so. And she took it away at nighttime too? Like, what are you doing?
Am I the asshole for telling my mother-in-law that she isn't allowed at our wedding ceremony if she can't accept the fact that my daughter will be the flower girl? I, 25 female, am marrying my high school sweetheart, 26 male. We decided to finally tie the knot after nearly 7 years of dating. I truly love him and thankfully get along with most of his family, except for his mom. She is continuously nagging at me for not giving her a grandson. I know this may be harmless, however, my fiance has repeatedly told her that she already has a grandchild. My baby girl, 5 years old, she's my best friend's daughter. They sadly passed away and she was my godchild, so it only felt right that I should take her in and bring her up in a way I knew her mother, my best friend, would want. Recently, we have begun getting bridesmaid dresses, etc. We both decided decided to make our newly found daughter a flower girl. She loves flowers, and this seemed like the perfect opportunity to help her feel like we take her as our own. At a recent family gathering, my fiance's mother has non-stop been horrible to my baby girl. Let's call her Ellie, saying things like, "I simply don't understand why an adopted child should take the place of true blood," which simply made my blood boil, along with many other mean comments that she made. I pulled her to the side, asking her to tone down her comments, knowing how much this meant to Ellie. She kept saying I was being rude to my new family by making someone who, in her eyes, has nothing to do with me. I immediately snapped, feeling outraged by her comments. Ellie is my godchild, and I will always care and love her. She seemed hurt at my words, but I did not care. Immediately taking me and Ellie out of her house. When my fiance came home, he was confused as his mother had said I was being verbally abusive towards her and making threats. I did no such thing. Anyway, a few days passed and Ellie was upset as she noticed we hadn't seen her cousins who were staying with my fiance. Shoving all my anger up my arse, I finally decided to try to apologize and head to her house once more. All was fine until I heard a horrid scream. Rushing up the stairs, I saw Ellie crying while my mom's fiance was standing screaming at her while holding her teddy bear, which her mom made. They're inseparable, and I know how much that means to her. It's a struggle to even wash the teddy, and I immediately snapped once more at her. She stood embarrassed as the whole family had gathered. She then gained confidence, saying that she was upset that I had chosen fake blood over real blood. I think you can choose family, and a friend can be better, real family, than your own. I was upset watching Ellie crying as my husband grabbed the toy, taking her away from the heated situation. I finally had enough, saying if she was so much of a problem with her being the flower girl, she might as well just skip the wedding and just join us for the reception. She began crying, and I did feel bad, but I was going to take back what was said. After leaving, the family has been telling my husband to tell me to apologize, and they aren't messaging me as what I said was harsh. I find that bogus, but whatever. Am I the asshole?
These people exist in the real world? For real? What is wrong with that lady? She sounds like a supervillain. Why wouldn't you want her to be the flower girl? And what is with this whole
She's not blood.
what does that matter? And of course, the fucking boy mom wants you to give her a grandson, right? It sounds like your husband has your back, which is good. Because I was gonna say, if he doesn't have your back on this at all, definitely not the asshole. That one made me mad. And don't you for a second feel bad about what you said, because she's the jerk, not you.
Am I the asshole for telling my future mother-in-law that she will be escorted out of my wedding if she tries to have a mother-son dance? My fiance and I are due to get married in September 2026. From the moment we got engaged, his mother has insisted that she will be having a choreographed dance with him at our wedding. His mom is a self-proclaimed main character and has even joked that she should be allowed to wear white as she is the mother of the groom. His mom is very kind money-wise to her children and has paid large sums of his siblings' weddings and would not make a difference here with ours. However, I don't want this to be an issue that the days then planned significantly around her ideas of the perfect wedding and not ours, as there has been previous comments about how she doesn't like the color scheme and how she thinks my engagement ring is tacky. So I have therefore said thank you for her kindness, but that we will be funding the main chunk of our wedding ourselves as we have saved for it. In relation to the dance, my dad died when I was 5 years old, and my granddad, who raised me, passed away a few years back. My mom and I have discussed a dance for both of us, not him and his mother, and both agreed that it would just seem a bit awkward and we wouldn't really enjoy it, so we were going to skip the father-daughter, that she would be dancing with me in this case, dance. I have stated my concerns about a mother-son dance, as it would highlight more the fact that there's no traditional father-daughter dance, and that I just don't feel comfortable with it. His mother has blown up saying I will be ruining the day for the whole family by not allowing it, and has stated that she will be pulling everyone off the dance floor for this dance regardless. I have therefore now told her that if that is the case, she will then be escorted from the venue before the dance begins.
Okay, so this one I'm a little bit actually split on. Now, I do think the mother-in-law sounds kind of bitchy, but you just said that you would be having a father-daughter dance if your dad or your grandfather was still alive. So a mother-son dance doesn't sound that ridiculous in those terms. I don't think it does anyway. But her saying that it's, that she's going to force it and it's going to ruin the whole family's lives if they don't have one. I mean, come on. And again, it all boils down to, no matter what my feelings are on any of these weddings that we talk about, it is your wedding, yours and your husband's wedding. You guys get to call the shots. And if you are paying for it as well, then yeah, you're not obligated to do anything that you don't want to do.
Am I the asshole for not thinking the joke my family played on my girlfriend was a big deal? I, 25 male, have a girlfriend, 23 female, who is absolutely beautiful, but she does have a large facial scar. My family often jokes about it. They have a super dark sense of humor. It bothers my girlfriend, and she says it doesn't feel like a joke. It feels like she's being insulted under the pretense of it being dark humor.
Okay, right there. That's all that should be said. That should end it all right there, right? She is uncomfortable with it being made fun of about her scar. She doesn't like it. Then you know what? You're supposed to be like, okay, and not make fun of it.
Even though I explain it's just how they are and they don't mean any harm, she doesn't really want to be around them. I told her it was really important to me we spend Christmas with my family. We would all quarantine first and test, and it was important to me. She resisted at first, but after some urging from me, she gave in. She said I absolutely could not excuse their behavior if they made a rude comment about her, though. We got there, and it was fine for a while. Then my mom and my sister broke out their matching ugly sweaters that had my girlfriend's face all over it. They both laughed, saying my mom made them screen printed, and it was just a joke. My dad thought it was hilarious. I even chuckled a little because she's really beautiful, so it was ironic they put her on an ugly sweater. My girlfriend looked at me, and when I said they were just being ironic, she shook her head, got up and left. Didn't say anything to anyone, just took her car and left. I called her several times and she didn't answer. The only text I received was, "You need to find your own way home." That pissed me off, and I called her a couple more times. The whole time my mom is upset because it was just a joke and she didn't realize my girlfriend was going to overreact like this.
It's always us overreacting, right? It's not just the other person being an asshole.
I told her that a warning would have been nice, but my sister agreed it was just a joke and my girlfriend was being a baby about it. I had another fight with my girlfriend when I finally got home, and she said I was an asshole for putting her in that situation, and I said I didn't realize they were going to do that. And they were being ironic because she was beautiful. She said I let them treat her badly and was trying to make it her fault when it was my family who was acting badly. I said it was just a joke and that she was overreacting. She asked how it was supposed to be a joke. I said that was just their sense of humor. I said I was sorry she was offended by the joke, but she ruined the whole day with her reaction.
Wow.
She said that no, them realizing she wasn't going to take their bullshit anymore ruined the day. We aren't speaking currently, but when a cousin called to wish me a Merry Christmas and asked how the day went, I mentioned what happened, and he straight up called me an asshole for doing that to her. I don't really think I've done anything, though. I didn't know they were going to do that, and really, it was just a joke, and I think she's overreacting. Am I really the asshole here?
Yes, 100% yes. And the girlfriend, hopefully ex-girlfriend now, needs to run far away from that family because they all sound like trash, all of them.
My husband left our 5-year-old and 9-month-old home alone and refuses to explain why. My husband is 43 and I'm 31. We've been married for 7 years and have a 5-year-old and a 9-month-old baby. My husband left our children alone and he refuses to admit it or tell me where he was. I'm furious, enraged, and my husband keeps telling me I'm making a big deal about nothing.
That's what manipulators always do. You have a proper reaction to something and they want to say,
You're overreacting. Oh my gosh, why are you acting crazy like that, you crazy woman?
don't let them do that to you.
This just happened this weekend. I'm on the board of directors for a local nonprofit organization. I had to attend an event for that organization this past Saturday, and I was gone for most of the day. My husband was supposed to be home with our kids. I texted him a few times and he responded. When I called around midday, he didn't respond. And that's not very unusual. Shortly after that, I got a call from my mom. She said my son had just called her. And when she asked him what he and his sister were doing, he said they were both watching TV. When she asked where their dad was, he said his dad wasn't there. My mom asked him several other questions, and from my son's response, she believed he was telling the truth and that my husband wasn't there and that there was no adult there at all. She said he didn't seem to be scared, alone, or worried about where his dad was at. He just called her to chat. He has a tablet designed for children with pre-programmed contacts that he can call. It's only a few people, just family members. I left the event immediately and began texting and calling my husband repeatedly. He didn't respond to my first several attempts. It took him about 10 minutes. I was halfway home at that point to respond. I was so confused, so worried, really mad, and I asked him where he was. He said he was at home. I told him our son had just told his grandmother that he was home alone with his baby sister watching TV about 15 minutes ago. My husband denied it, and I told him I was too upset to talk and drive. When I got home, I checked on the kids right away, and they were both fine. I asked my husband again, where was he? He said he was home the entire time.
Oh my God.
He doesn't know what our son was talking about, but he must have been just confused since he had gone to the basement to do some laundry. I ran down to the basement. It was the same load of laundry I'd thrown in the dryer the night before. He didn't do any laundry when I was gone. I asked my husband why my son would be confused about whether his dad was home or not. Where in our home would he have gone, and for how long for our son to think his dad wasn't home? That doesn't make sense with a 5-year-old and a 9-month-old baby. You wouldn't leave them unattended that long. Why was he nowhere to be found when my mom asked my son to go check certain areas of the house? I've begged my husband to just admit it, stop treating me like an idiot, and to stop accusing our son of lying. Just tell me the truth, because being lied to right to my face is so incredibly maddening. He insists he was home, but he can't come up with any believable story of where he was at or what he was doing during that time. The way he answers me when I ask him about it and demand truthful answers is so dismissive. When I tell him, quote, "You left our children alone," he quickly says, "No, I didn't. So anyways," he says I'm overreacting and letting our son's imagination drive me crazy. I am convinced he was gone. We don't have a Ring camera, but at least one of our neighbors does. I'm so upset about this that I'm tempted to ask our neighbor for the Ring footage. I can't put into words how upset I am about the fact that I know he must have really left them alone, but I have no proof and am being treated like I'm just a paranoid nutcase of a woman/mother by him.
That's insane. Where did he go? What was he doing? And to leave your children home alone like that?
Am I the asshole for being angry at my husband for spending my tummy tuck money? My husband, 37, and I, 35, have been together for just over 11 years. We have 3 beautiful children. Before we were engaged, we talked about having babies. I said I always wanted to be a mom, but I will be getting the mommy makeover package after I'm done. This is a tummy tuck and possible breast lift. I was very clear that I would want us to start saving as soon as I was pregnant with the first baby. First pregnancy hits, and it hits hard. And true to our promise, we start saving. After my first child was born, we found out my abdominal muscles had separated and needed to be repaired surgically. This is essentially a tummy tuck. Since giving birth to my first, I've experienced horrible back pain and back spasms due to the separation. But we wait and had 2 more babies. My youngest is now almost 1 year old, and I brought up the surgery to my husband. He asked me if I was sure I wanted the surgery. LOL, yes, I am very sure. He asked me why I want it, which I found insane since I have been talking about it for 8 years straight.
Yeah.
I told him, 1, I look pregnant all of the time due to the separation and I hate it. It makes me feel awful and sad. And 2, the pain was getting unbearable, even with therapy. Well, he tells me I'm being very vain and that he doesn't think I should have it. He completely ignored the pain part. I start to get confused and ask to see the account where it's being saved. In parentheses, to clarify, we are both on this account, but it was never linked to my online banking. I saw the balance last month at $15K. He became silent and left the house. I was very, very confused, so I called up the bank. They told me the account had under $1K left. I burst into hysterical tears and called my husband. He answers and didn't say anything. I unload on him about being betrayed by the person I trust the most in the world and ask where the hell the money went. He said he was under a lot of stress with the kids. Parentheses, I am a stay-at-home mom and do everything. So he wanted to treat himself and bought a computer for his office. I told him
for $15,000.
Yeah, exactly.
I told him not to come home, and he hasn't yet. The thing is, he is an excellent dad and husband, and this is very out of the blue. It has made me so upset that I texted him and wanted a divorce, since I seem to not matter. He texted me back saying no divorce, but it was his money anyways. This has damaged us to a level I never thought we could get to. My mother-in-law called me and told me to kick him out, but my own family, especially my mother, is saying she's very disappointed in me and thinks I am vain and shallow.
What?
I just want to look normal and play with my kids with no pain. Am I the asshole?
Wait, I don't understand. How are you selfish? This is something that you have been talking about for a long time, something that you want done. If you want to get cosmetic surgery done and it's going to make you feel better and improve your self-esteem, and it sounds like here, even help with you physically, who cares what anybody thinks? Do it. I want to know what he did with that freaking money. It sucks that it sounds like they had a really great marriage and now all of a sudden this happened. And this to me is a big deal. This is a big, like, somebody that you thought you knew, it's a total 180. And now you're like, whoa, wait, what's happening? You are definitely not the asshole.
Am I the asshole for point blank refusing to be my sister's surrogate because it would ruin my mommy makeover? Maybe there's a better forum for this. I don't know. I, 36 female, have had 2 kids, 8 male and 5 female, and knew after my daughter was born that I was done. I had my tubes removed, and then last year I went and had some very expensive surgery to get rid of saggy, scarred skin after years of body changes from pregnancy and breastfeeding and weight loss. I finally feel more confident in how I look again, and I have zero desire to put my body through another pregnancy. My older sister, 40 female, got married last year, but just recently found out she likely won't be able to carry a pregnancy to term due to her very short cervix. It's obviously devastating for her and her husband, who is a sound guy, and I do feel for them. But instead of looking into other options, she cornered me in our parents' house on Sunday and asked me to be her surrogate.
Yikes.
Not if I'd consider it, but as if it was the natural solution. Before I could reply, she listed her reasons, like that I've already been pregnant twice, so clearly my parts work, and it shouldn't be a big issue for me to do it again. I tried to be nice about it and said no, that I had my tubes removed for a reason. I don't want to go through pregnancy again. I don't want to undo everything I've done to feel good in my body again. I just don't want to. She did not take it well. She was upset, saying it wasn't fair that I already got to be a mom and I should want to help her have the same happiness, even if it meant having the surgery redone in the future, and that she would do it for me in a heartbeat. I get that she's having a hard time, but it isn't my fault she has a short cervix, and I don't think she fully understands how difficult the recovery after my surgery was. She went crying to my parents after I left, and they are involved now too.
Oh, Jesus.
My mother notably said, quote, "You'll get through another pregnancy, but your sister may never get over not being a mom." She also pointed out that she sacrificed her nice figure to bring us into the world. I saw red at that one and reminded her that she wouldn't even take my kids for a week or so while I was recovering last year because she said she was done playing mommy when Danny left home. Danny is our younger brother, 28 male, if that's relevant. So she's obviously not that self-sacrificing. She also said at the time my surgery was pure vanity and a waste of money. My husband is conflict averse, so was neutral initially, saying it was my decision, but he can see the tensions it's causing, so even he's saying that maybe we should look into it and see what's involved so we can make an informed decision.
No.
And I'm like, there is no we in this. He says, quote, "Okay, so then you can make an informed decision." That was a couple of days ago. And then my sister brought it up again there today. And I was very blunt with her this time. I told her there was no way in hell I was doing this. And then she called me a selfish bitch.
Wow.
So Reddit, am I the asshole for refusing to be my sister's surrogate without even looking into it?
I'm going to say not the asshole. Now, I really do feel for this woman wanting to have a baby and not being able to. That would be really devastating. But to expect one of your family members to do it for you and not even think about maybe what are our other options, sounds like she's being selfish to me. I don't think you're being an asshole. And the fact that your family is starting to say, well, you should just do it, it's absolutely your decision. And no is a complete sentence. You don't even need to explain it. You just say, no, I don't want to. And that should be the end of it. It kind of reminds me of a video that I had a long time ago that a lot of people got really pissed at me about, of a woman that wanted to be a surrogate when her husband did not want her to be, for somebody else. it wasn't family either. She just wanted to carry somebody else's child because of the money. You get paid good money to carry it. And he was saying, no, absolutely not. And in the comments, I was saying that, it's kind of her decision because it's her body. And boy, did I get ripped apart in the comments saying that, like, what are you talking about? It's absolutely the husband and wife's decision. So this is like the opposite of that. It doesn't change how I feel about it, but it is kind of interesting, just the two different scenarios.
I made the mistake of asking my wife for an open marriage, and I regret it. I feel like a complete idiot here. My wife and I have been married for 19 years. We have one child. Our daughter moved out this summer after she enlisted in the armed forces. I love my wife, but I felt like the spark was gone from our lives. I don't want to divorce her, so I proposed an open marriage. She was upset initially, but eventually she agreed. Like I said in the title of my post, I made a mistake.
I am not about to get in anybody's business, and if you have an open marriage and that works for you, that's great. But if my husband came up and said that he wanted an open marriage because he had lost that spark, I would hear, I want an open marriage because I want to screw women that are way younger and sexier than you because I am just not attracted to you at all anymore. That's what I would hear.
I've learned that just because I wasn't as attracted to my wife as I was when we got married, it doesn't mean other men would feel the same. My wife has so many men and dates, she doesn't know what to do with them all. Meanwhile, it's the opposite for me. Not only that, but after my wife agreed to an open marriage, I asked a woman who was a colleague of mine out on a date. I was a manager at my job, but I wasn't her manager. We worked in completely different divisions, and our work had nothing to do with each other's jobs. But even though I wasn't her manager, and I'm in an open marriage, she complained to her manager and showed HR my messages. I lost my job. I told my wife I want to close our marriage again because I was an idiot for suggesting it in the first place. She said no. She's happy with how things are. It's killing me when I know she is with other men. My brother called me a moron when I told him and said expecting my wife to look like she did when she got married made me a dunce. Even went so far as to say she takes great care of herself and is in great shape for 44. She just doesn't look 20. He had the nerve to say my wife looks better than me and I could stand to lose some weight. I love my wife and I don't want a divorce. I never wanted a divorce, which is why I proposed this in the first place. But she doesn't want to close the marriage.
He wants to open the marriage. He thinks the ladies are going to be spilling in, right? But then when they weren't, and he saw that his wife was actually enjoying it more than he thought, it sounds like as soon as he saw that his wife was getting any enjoyment out of it, now he wants to pull the plug. If I was the wife, I think I would, you know what, honestly, you wouldn't need to leave. Sounds like she's doing great. I kind of feel like that was a big old dose of karma right back at him. All right, well, that is it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this format. If you did, let me know down below. Or if you prefer me reading these out, then I will do that instead. But I thought this was kind of a fun, different take on how we usually do it. Again, make sure you go follow these creators, like their content, send them love. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't even have this video that hopefully you enjoyed very, very much. And if you did like this video, here is a playlist of the Am I the A-holes that we've done here on this channel that you can watch more of. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.